If you bought ammo at Cabela's last month, the federal government may have flagged you as a potential domestic terrorist. No warrant, no crime, no phone call. Just your credit card receipt and a surveillance system that your bank built quietly at the request of federal law enforcement. I'm not speculating. I'm reading from official congressional documents. The House Judiciary Committee obtained internal government slides prepared by a major American bank and distributed by the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, instructing banks to flag transactions at gun stores, sporting goods stores, and even Zelle payment messages containing the words Trump or MAGA. They called it extremism detection. I call it a backdoor gun registry, and it's already been running for years. Stay with me, because what comes next is going to make you rethink every card swipe you've made at a gun counter. I want you to think about something for a second. You don't have to be charged with a crime to lose access to your bank account. Your credit card can just be shut off. Your financial history can be quietly compiled and handed to federal law enforcement without your knowledge, without a court order, and without any evidence of wrongdoing on your part. That's not a hypothetical. It's already happened. Bank of America handed the FBI a list of customers who made firearm purchases in the Washington, D.C. area in the 6 months prior to January 6th. Voluntarily, with no legal process required, no subpoena, no warrant, just handed it over. Think about that as a mom. Think about that as someone who carries because you work night shift and you've made a decision to protect yourself. You did everything right. You went through the background check. You bought your firearm legally with your credit card because that's how most people pay for things in America. And somewhere in a government database, that purchase is sitting in a file next to the word extremism. This hits your wallet. Banks like Citigroup, PayPal, and Bank of America have already severed ties with gun-related businesses. The infrastructure to do that to individual customers is being built right now. This hits your freedom. What Congress can't legally do, create a national gun registry, is being outsourced to Visa, Mastercard, and your local bank. This hits your daily life. Every time you swipe for ammo, for a cleaning kit, for a holster, you may be feeding a profile you didn't consent to and can't see. So before we talk about what they want you to believe, let's talk about what they're actually doing. To be fair, and I promise I'm gonna be fair, the people pushing this do have a real argument. 3 mass shooters used credit cards to stockpile weapons before they made their attacks. The Aurora movie theater killer put roughly $9,000 on credit cards in the months prior. The Pulse nightclub attacker charged around $26,000. The Las Vegas shooter ran up nearly $94,000 in gun and ammo purchases on credit cards before he killed 60 people. The argument goes like this. If banks had flagged those unusual purchases at gun stores, law enforcement might have intervened in time. Senator Elizabeth Warren and 27 congressional colleagues made exactly that case, in writing to credit card executives. They framed the merchant category code for gun retailers as a first step in countering terrorism financing. The most compelling version of their argument is this. We already use transaction monitoring to catch fraud and money laundering, so why not use it to catch potential mass shooters? That's a reasonable sounding question, and I honestly respect the grief behind it. But here's what they're not telling you. Even Visa's own CEO admitted the code doesn't do what they claim. He said publicly that the system has no way to distinguish between someone buying a rifle and someone buying a gun safe or a box of earplugs at the same store. The code tracks where you shop, not what you buy. So it can't catch a mass shooter, but it can catch you. That contradiction isn't a design flaw. It's the point. And the evidence for that is buried in the legislation itself. Let me get you the timeline, because this didn't start with a safety concern. It started with a political strategy. In 2011, the Obama administration launched Operation Choke Point. The Department of Justice used informal regulatory pressure, no laws, no votes, to push banks to cut off financial services to gun dealers, ammunition retailers, and other industries that the administration considered politically inconvenient. It was exposed in congressional hearings and formally ended 6 years later in 2017. But the blueprint survived. In 2018, New York Times columnist Andrew Ross Sorkin published an editorial suggesting credit card companies should create a special tracking code for gun store purchases, and eventually use that to deny those transactions entirely. He said the quiet part out loud. In 2022, Amalgamated Bank, a self-described progressive political institution that openly supports social justice causes, lobbied a Swiss standards body, the International Organization for Standardization, to create a firearm retailer-specific merchant category code. The ISO approved it. Visa, Mastercard, and American Express began rolling it out. Then came January 6th. Congressional investigators obtained slides that the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network distributed to major banks after January 6th. Those slides, prepared by KeyBank, instructed financial institutions to query transactions using MCC codes for small arms and sporting and recreational goods, and to keyword search for Cabela's, Bass Pro Shop, Dick's Sporting Goods, Glock, Sig Sauer, and Ruger. The stated purpose was to identify potential active shooters who may include dangerous international terrorists, domestic terrorists, or homegrown violent extremists. House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan's response was direct. Despite these transactions having no apparent criminal nexus, and in fact relate to Americans exercising their Second Amendment rights, FinCEN seems to have adopted a characterization of these Americans as potential threat actors. If you're watching this and you've ever bought a Bible on your debit card, bought a bus ticket, or sent a Zelle payment with the words Trump or MAGA in the memo line, you were in that net. And if you think this chapter is closed, it's not. In 2025, Democratic Representative LaMonica McIver introduced H.R. 2948, the Safer Neighborhoods Gun Buyback Act. Buried in the legislative text is a specific provision mandating a firearm retailer MCC on prepaid gift cards, explicitly in writing, for the purpose of preventing the cardholder from using it to purchase a gun or ammunition. They admitted the goal in a bill in Congress. If you're finding this video valuable, and I hope you are, this is the kind of content you won't find on the evening news. Hit that subscribe button right now and join the community that's actually paying attention. Now here's something even bigger on the horizon that most people haven't connected yet, and it changes everything. Here's the constitutional reality. The Firearm Owners Protection Act of 1986 prohibits the federal government from creating a national gun registry. Full stop. So they didn't create one. They outsourced it. Visa and Mastercard aren't bound by the Second Amendment. FinCEN can share typologies with banks without triggering Fourth Amendment scrutiny. And Bank of America can hand over your purchase history voluntarily without a warrant because you agreed to their terms of service. The end result is functionally identical to a national gun registry. The paper trail just runs through a Swiss standards body and a progressive bank in New York instead of through Congress. That's not a loophole. That's a deliberate architecture designed to do constitutionally what they cannot do legislatively. And here's where I have to be honest with you. This isn't just a Democrat problem. There are currently 20 states with laws on the books prohibiting specific merchant category codes. 20. That means 30 states have done nothing. Many of them are run by Republicans. If your state is one of those 30 and your Republican governor or legislator hasn't acted, they don't just get a pass because they have an R next to their name. The non-aggressive principle is simple. No law-abiding person consented to being treated as a threat for exercising a constitutional right. Every flag transaction is a violation of that principle, and every politician who lets it continue, regardless of party, is complicit. Let's talk about what happens next if this system keeps growing unchallenged. Right now, Congress is debating the Protecting Privacy and Purchases Act, Senate Bill 1715 and House Bill 1181. It would ban the use of firearm-specific merchant category codes at the federal level. It has 16 Senate co-sponsors. It passed out of the House Financial Services Committee. According to GovTrack, it currently has a 2% chance of becoming law. If it fails in the next 12 months, MCC codes remain active in the 30 states with no protective legislation. The surveillance infrastructure stays in place, legal and growing. Within 1 to 3 years, it gets worse. Researchers at Reason have documented that new interchange fee legislation being pushed by major merchant lobbies would require payment networks to transmit what's called Level 3 data, item-by-item records of every individual purchase on every credit card transaction. Right now, the MCC only tells them you were at a gun store. Level 3 data tells them exactly what you bought, every item, every time, accessible to the government. At that point, they don't need a gun-specific code. They have everything. Over the next decade, if you don't resist this right now, the template is set for something broader. If shopping at Cabela's, buying a Bible, or saying MAGA in a Zelle message already marks you as a potential extremist, the infrastructure exists to apply that same logic to any behavior a future administration finds politically inconvenient. If the government can profile your ideology through your credit card today without a warrant, there is no structural reason they can't use that same system to restrict access to any other constitutional right tomorrow. Here's the good news though. You have more power than they want you to believe. First, use cash for firearms, ammunition, and accessories. This isn't paranoia. This is a rational, legal response to a documented surveillance program. Cash transactions have no digital trail. That's not illegal. That's just smart. Second, call your senator and your representative today. Don't email them, call them. Tell them you want them to co-sponsor and vote for Senate Bill 1715 and House Bill 1181, the Protecting Privacy and Purchases Act. Give them the bill number. Make it specific. Vague outrage does nothing. Targeted constituent pressure moves votes. Third, research your bank. Find out if your financial institution has publicly stated a policy on MCC code compliance. If they haven't, ask. If you don't like the answer, move your money. There are community banks and credit unions that have made their position clear. Your dollars are your vote in the marketplace. Fourth, share this video with one person who still thinks this is a conspiracy theory. Show them the congressional documents. Show them the bill text. Let the evidence speak. For ongoing updates on Second Amendment financial privacy and the legislation moving through Congress right now, head over to shesright1776.com and sign up for the newsletter. And while you're there, grab the free downloads I've created that are full of the information you need to know now. This is exactly the kind of story that gets buried the moment the news cycle moves on. Don't let it. And if you're not subscribed yet, do it right now. This channel exists because people who value individual liberty refuse to be passive. Every subscriber is a statement that you're paying attention, and it matters more than you think. The gun they can't ban, they'll try to make you unable to buy. The only question is whether you'll notice in time. I'll see you next time. Bye.